What's up, guys? It's your girl T, aka the nappy-headed jojoba, and most of y'all already know, if you've been with me for a handful of videos, you already know keeping my hair scratched is critical. Throughout the years, I've used twists and braids and even curl formers in more recent years, the odd blow dry here or there. But with my extremely tightly coiled kinky hair texture, which loves to just tangle upon itself, even at just a glance in its general direction, keeping my hair stretched is one of the main reasons that I've been able to retain length and just make my hair more manageable. Many moons ago, primarily thanks to Girls Love Your Curls, if you are familiar with that channel. What's up, Nadine? I know you're not watching, but in the unlikely event you are, I love you and miss you. Nadine, she did a lot of videos that would very much in depth show you how to use African hair threading. I believe it was a technique that her mom used on her when she was a child, and she would often use it on her girls to stretch their hair, and I was always so impressed and amazed with how good it was at stretching Afro-textured hair. Through some of her techniques using African threading, she was able to replicate results you would get from blow drying. And you know that I took my ass down to the beauty supply store and bought some weave thread and was just like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna thread my hair, it's gonna be stretched, it's gonna make my tangles more manageable, it's gonna be great. Forgetting that I am style challenged, to put it lightly. I can barely two-strand twist my hair as it is. I can barely put in Miss Sealy plaits. I understand objectively how to do things, but when it comes to translating things from my brain to these hands, it ain't happening. And over the years, I have here and there revisited trying to do African threading on my hair, and honestly, the moment that weave thread gets in my fingertips, it's like, butterfingers. I just can't do it. I can't get the hang of it. I can't manage it. So I basically had to let that go and go on with figuring out other ways to effectively stretch my hair. However, the main thing I always remembered was how much of a struggle it was to get my hands on that thin piece of string. So quite some time ago, I had the idea to try using something thicker. Didn't get around to it until recently, but I basically decided to try out elastic. The reason I went for elastic like this was I figured it would kind of combine the technique of African threading with banding, which is another OG hair stretching technique where you basically just use ponytailers down the length of your hair to stretch it. Because this is thicker and also, in my opinion, probably gentler on my hair strands than an actual ponytailer would be, I thought that this would be a good compromise. Not to mention, it would be easier for me as a clumsy, dim-witted person to actually keep a hold of it as I was wrapping it around my hair. I don't know why it took me so long to get around to actually trying this, because I had the idea a very long time ago, but here we are. And I use this method to stretch my hair prior to installing these faux locks that I have right now. And I gotta tell you, worked pretty well. I bought about 3 packs of this elastic and I ended up using less than one full one. This I just got from the craft store. Joanne, I believe, was the one I went to. And this is 1 inch by 7 yards. So it's 7 yards long. Didn't even use all of it. So if you have a hair length and thickness similar to mine, 1 pack of this will be more than enough. And this is just 1 inch fold over elastic. So you could use this to make your own ponytailers if you want. Just cut it short and tie a knot, because that's the same shit they're selling you at Target anyway. Headbands, whatever. But I used it to create a hybrid method of African threading and, I guess, banding for someone, specifically me, since I am clumsy and less than smart. I had my hair in only 5 sections. I didn't even do very small sections, and I basically would just make a knot on one end of the elastic, and since I didn't know how long it would need to be, I left it on here and would just cut it from the package when I had reached the end of my hair. So I had this knot here to sort of be my anchor, similar to how you would do African threading with weave thread. And to make it even easier on myself, rather than just holding the knot and then trying to wrap, because that was where I could never really get started with African threading. I just couldn't maneuver my fingers to make things work. I sort of created a loop like this, and then use that similar to how I do with my knee highs, where I just kind of tie it around either my hair as a whole or, one section of it. And then I would secure it that way, and that made it easier for me to kind of already have the roots stretched and taut but not tight. And then I would wrap down the length of my hair with the rest of the elastic. once I reached the end, I would sort of start traveling back up maybe 2 inches, just so that it would be easier to tuck in the end of the ribbon, create kind of an easy to pull out knot, but also one that would be secure enough to not unravel. And that was it. And I didn't use any product on my hair at all. I put this in my hair, which was still damp from wash day. I had rinsed out my deep conditioner, and then I just didn't apply any product at all because I was afraid that it would take too long for my hair to dry. And because I didn't apply any product, my hair was dry in about 12 hours, which is amazing. Now, when I say my hair was dry in about 12 hours, my hair was like dry, like thirsty. So once I removed these, I went in with a good, nourishing, rich moisturizer. I used my usual Chemit Biologics, mainly because I knew I was putting these locks in anyway. So I moisturized my hair very well with my Chemit Biologics Burdock Root Buttercream, as well as the Olive and Honey Hydrating Balm, which is what I always use when I know I'm going to be putting my hair away in a 4 weeks plus protective style. That's my cocktail. This was my first outing doing this method, so as you can see on the left side of my head, I didn't really have the ribbon elastic wrapped quite as close together. I think if you were to wrap it around your hair and stretch your hair as you were wrapping it enough to actually have like no gaps between the ribbon, that's going to give you the most stretch. I would say the bigger the gaps are, the less stretch you will get. But even with doing it this way, I was pretty impressed with the stretch that I got. And on this side, I did wrap it a bit more tautly. And it's interesting because the hair appeared to be stretched about to the same length as this side, even though this side of my hair is longer because this side used to be shaved as of about 2 years ago. So that gives me at least some anecdotal evidence that wrapping it more tautly, meaning wrapping the ribbon, almost doubling it over on itself as I go down, will give me the maximum stretch. Is this as effective as actual African threading? Probably not, but since I can't do that, it's a pretty nice alternative. Not to mention, doing my hair in just the 5 sections, I was able to do that in about 15 minutes, which is way faster than putting in curl formers, which takes me about an hour. I was able to sleep in this overnight relatively comfortably, and because I didn't use products, my hair was completely dry by the morning. So let me know if you are going to try out this African threading hack, if you are threading challenged or just style challenged like I am. You know, sometimes we have to get a bit clever and come up with alternative solutions if we're not able to do things by the book. That is going to do it for this video. As usual, I'm hoping that I'm sharing something with you guys that maybe you hadn't considered or seen before or tried before. I really do try to do my best to innovate as best I can when I do share information with you guys about how I'm looking after my hair. In any event, thanks for checking this video out. I hope it was helpful and maybe gave you some ideas of new ways to stretch your hair heatlessly, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.
That's a nappy-headed hose there, I'm gonna tell you that now.